For 3,000 years, the world has used archaic methods for squaring anything in the construction industry. For example, we have the piece of metal offered by the Egyptians some 2,000 years ago. We have the Greek Pythagoras, who gave us the theorem 345, or the Pythagorean theorem. A fairly complicated thing that involves a couple or three people with multiple tape measures, chalk lines, whatever necessary to get two 90-degree lines. Now, that's been a problem for the industry for quite some time, and yet we've got computers, mobile phones, diesel engines, wet saws for ceramic tile, all sorts of aids for construction, but yet nothing to duplicate the archaic method of squaring. So what we're going to talk about today is the laser square. Laser Products has had this on the market for 3 years now, with thousands of them on the market. Eventually, people are starting to feel that squaring can be something that's done very simply and very fast by only one guy. And then the key here is that one-man operation saves lots of money in setup time and accuracy and all those things that add cost to your job. First of all, the laser square has 3 different types of beams. There are 2 dots that come out at exactly 90 degrees, and with the 45-degree cut on the unit, it allows to offer 45 degrees. Then we switch the selector here to vertical lines or horizontal lines. Let's talk about the vertical one. It doesn't look like much on the wall, but when we set this on the floor, see what happens here? We have 2 90-degree lines instantly. This would take 3 men, 3 tape measures, and 2 chalk lines to duplicate this. And if you wanted to move it just a little bit, it would take the same 3 men, the same 3 tape measures, and a different color chalk. We like to say if you have 2 colors of chalk, you deserve this. Okay, so now we have 2 vertical lines here. Let's talk about that. Oh, hi there. What we have here is the 2 vertical lines. If I put this in a corner of a room, let's say we have a room here, and I put this in the corner of the room, what we're going to see here is 2 red lines appearing exactly 3 inches off each wall. Okay? Now, if the lines aren't square, we're going to know that by seeing this dive into the wall here or dive away from the wall over there. And what we do here is we offer a target that comes with it that is actually tuned to the width of the laser. See here? It's exactly 3 inches. Now, the beams here come out 1 inch off each front edge and 3 inches off the back. So, to eliminate the second guy having to be in the other corner, what we do is we set one target in one corner of the room, we set the laser in the other, and all we do is hit the center of that target. We know now that this wall is parallel, and this wall should be dead parallel also. If it's not, we can pick up a bowl, we can pick up an out-of-square situation, and that's the kind of thing that's going to save you a lot of money. Okay, also, because of the 45-degree cut, watch this. I would just take a straight edge up against the wall. I push the laser up against this, and what I'm going to see now is 2 45-degree lines coming out into the room. This is especially important for ceramic tile setters with 45s, framers who have to put up 45-degree walls, because what we have here is a continuous red line. These are used indoors, okay? The dots are more effective outdoors than the lines because we dilute the laser about 20 times. Brings me back to the distance. The dots actually will appear about 200 to 300 feet away, even more interior-wise, okay? Whereas the lines, being about 10% of that, would be 20 or 30 or 40 feet. Again, here we show the 45-degree angles or the 90 coming off any side of the laser, okay? Now let's talk about the level line option. Here, I shoot a level line. First, I adjust it. Now, what I want to do is take the same target that has, it's tuned to the same height as the laser here. I'm going to set it over on the other side of the room, and what I'm going to do here is adjust this till it hits the center of that line. Now, what this does here is give us a parallel situation with the floor. It's not level, but it's out of flat. In many cases in the flooring industry and building, we're worried about having an undulation or an up and down on the floor. For example, if there was a crown floor joist here, it would be represented by a hump in the floor, right? When I drag this target across, you can see here, there it is. I can tell how much it's above flat, where it's at, where do I need to fill, where do I need to grind, and it's very simple to do, okay? We always center the line on the actual target. For example, the beam on a laser can diverge slightly and get larger as it goes away. So what we want to make sure we do, if you can see close here, we're going to set this right in the center of that line, okay? Now, any imperfection in the floor is going to be shown by that going up and down. These are 1/4-inch increments, so we know exactly how far the floor is either out of flat, up, or down. Okay? Some of the things that you're going to learn about lasers, if this is the first laser you're looking at, is that most lasers make dots. Okay? Rotating lasers rotate a dot to allude to a line. Okay? But the first thing that you find out about when you have a 2-dot laser is that they're only one-dimensional. Let's suppose I set a 2-dot laser right here. See? Now, I have an outside wall here that I parallel, okay, which means what? This is perpendicular, right? Mm-hmm. Let's suppose your job today, Don, is to tilt up a wall perpendicular. Let's do it over here so we can see it. Perpendicular with this outside wall here, okay? What that's going to look like when you first tilt up the wall is a dot at the end of the wall. Looks good, huh? Well, maybe not. Let's suppose we put the wall here or here. See what happens? You know, what you figure out is there's only one dot. It's one-dimensional right here. So what the laser industry wants you to do is they want you to come off target about 1 inch or whatever measurement you want to use. Then you would take a tape measure here, and you would measure back 1 inch from this, okay? And then without moving this side of the wall, you come all the way down here to the other side of the wall, and you're saying this is kind of difficult, you know, and it is. And if this thing moves before you strike the first nail in, you don't know it. Now, if we had a line here, imagine how simple that would be. Just like your snap chalk line. You see how easy that is? Right there. Right on the line, very simple to use. Okay? Okay, let's talk about some specific uses like for, you're a tile setter. Let's see what it does for you. Let's suppose that complex diagonal job that you may have to charge 50 cents or $1 a foot more for could be reduced to only seconds in setup. I mean, if you had, for example, a 45-degree wall here and a 90-degree wall here. Now, how long do you think it would take you to set that up, Don, with full tile on this wall and full tile down this wall? How long do you think that would take?
45 minutes to an hour.
With 2 guys, right?
Right.
And what would that cost you? Let's say $30 an hour a man, $60, okay? $60. Now let's take this, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do this in less than 30 seconds. I want you to think about the math there for a second, because every time you set this down on a 45-degree job, you're going to pick up $60. You know, it kind of pays for the tool. If I set a whole tile on here and allow a grout joint right here, then I bump this up against the wall and set it down. It gives me a full tile on this wall, up to the corner here. Now I would take my straight edge and back it up to the tool here to straighten it out, parallel with this wall, okay? Now all I do is take this and slide it back and forth on the straight edge until it hits that 45-degree wall. Isn't that wild? I'm done. What'd that take me? 30 seconds or so? I have full tile going down this wall here, full tile extending here, and look at this. I even give you a little bonus line going at 45 through the room this way to set our tile right too. Now let's talk about this action here. For your whole life, you've been troweling up to, but not over, the blue line. Okay? This has been a problem for most of us out there. And it's probably one of the single biggest complaints in the ceramic tile industry. I'll give you a little hint where that comes from, right here. Cracked tile. Okay? Yeah, he says he's nodding. Yes, it is. Okay, so imagine if, because, you know, we have to trowel up to that line. We can't cover it. We have to see it, right? That's your control line. And the more control lines you use, especially if you do snap lines on grids, the more cracked tile you potentially can have. Now let's imagine if the rules change. Let's imagine that we could trowel anywhere we wanted to go. Yeah, and I can't get rid of the line. It just doesn't go away. And this, again, is indoors, and the distances are kind of limited to maybe somewhere between 20 and 40 feet, but plenty for the interior job. I trowel real fast, so my trowel speed goes up. I set the tile in the red line like this. Very simple, easy to see. I can either wipe this off, or if it's field, I leave this here and re-skim it on the next course. But now, look at this. No more broken tile. Full transfer to the edge of the tile. And you know, people say, well, the grout's going to fill this up. But we know grout is not mortar. It's not designed for that. You could have a 100-pound woman step on this and she'll break that tile. Okay? What are some other difficult things for tile setters? Well, first of all, floor prep. How many times have you been sitting on either a commercial or a residential job doing this with your straight edge? Yeah, he's laughing. Right? And you too, yeah. This is the kind of thing that can cost you a lot of money. It's something that if you could show the customer definitely one way or the other that this is a problem, she'll believe you. But this is not something we can easily believe. Okay? So now we set the target like we showed you before here. We drag it across the room, and any imperfection is shown. I can say, look, Mrs. Smith, see this here? I'm not complaining. The laser says that the room is out of square, so I'm not the bad guy anymore, okay? Yeah, it is. Okay, let's talk about something that's defined mainly into areas where we have subfloors on second floors and we have deflection. Anybody here had the job where the two ceramic tiles in the middle of the room just kind of pop up like this? Did you have one of those?
Once.
Yeah, what did that cost you to fix that, Don?
Much.
I'm guessing $4,000 or $5,000. Yeah, you had to pull up the tile, pull up the cabinets, pull up the trim around the room, replace all the new underlayment and everything else. Now that was caused by a condition we call deflection, when the floor bends too much in the middle, okay, and the tile won't bend or won't give, and it pops up right in the middle to give it some room to go. Well, how much is too much deflection? Ansi specs tell us that deflection on a wood subfloor with ceramic tile is L over 360, which means the length of the room divided by 360 is the maximum amount of deflection up and down. Okay? How do you check for that? Now do you know? It's tough. One of your options is to have a 8-foot tripod downstairs with a little dial indicator on it. What's that going to do? I mean, that's $800 worth of tripod and machinist dial indicator. You've already got the laser, right? You set the laser in the middle of the room, and you shoot a line on the wall over here, okay? Now, what I would do then is bring in some live load, the same live load that's going to be on that floor. Ceramic tile, a couple people, your helper, yourself, mortar, grout, all the stuff that's going to hit that floor. And you'll see when you put it in the middle of the floor, if you watch this target over here, it's going to go down. You see that? It's not much here because we only have a small table, but the distance that this goes down on the wall is your maximum deflection. At that point, you look at the builder and you say, hey, Joe, come here. This is out, and it's out twice the deflection it's supposed to be. If I put tile in this room, the next time I see you, we're going to be in court, and that's not good. He's laughing. He's been there, you know. Okay, so now we check deflection, okay? We're doing 45s for the tile layout. We're checking a room for 90s, okay? There have been many articles written about this tool on its merits as a sales tool. I mean, all you guys here think that this is an installation tool, right? Yeah. But guess what? Imagine if you were the first installer to show up at the house, or the first salesman, because many of you people sell what you install, right? If I put this in a corner of the room and showed the customer, very simply, that the wall didn't match the line. What does that mean? It's out of square. Now, we could tell the customer by measuring, you're blue in the face, but if they see it, they understand. So I say, Mrs. Smith, you see this? And she says, yeah, what does that mean? And you say, well, it means that if we net this wall, that one's going to go off. If we net this wall, that one goes off. So you need to pick your favorite wall. And she says, the north wall, yeah, because that's the straightest, right? Okay, so I'm going to make a note on my bid, Mrs. Smith, that I need to net the north wall should I get this job. Then it's very simple. We did this before, but now you show the woman that the floor perhaps needs to be filled a little bit over here to make it level, okay? So we need a little floor patch here, ma'am, and I'm going to fix this area up real nice, and I'm going to include that in my bid, and here's my bid. Let's say it's $2,000, okay? And what does she tell you? This typical answer, she says, well, I got another guy coming tomorrow, you know, can I get back to you? So anyway, you leave, and the next guy shows up. This could be any one of us in this room. The next guy shows up, but he doesn't have a laser. He's the best tile setter in the world. And he comes here and he shows the customer the same tile you do, and he says all the right things, and he gives her a price, $1,800. It's $200 less. The lady's pretty excited, right? But she's educated, because you educated her. She looks at the floor and she goes, gee, Joe, how's my floor? What do we all do? We go like this, right? And we say, yeah, it's beautiful. It looks wonderful. It looks like it needs tile, you know. Okay, same thing. Now the lady has a little bit less impression of this person. So she says, gee, Joe, can you tell me how my walls are? We don't get that request very often. But so he looks down the wall and he goes, well, you know, that wall's nice and straight. And so is that one there. I don't think we have any problem with the walls. What he doesn't know is that they're at 88 degrees to each other. That is not good. You can imagine the conversation that night with the husband. He comes home and he says, gee, dear, did you get the 2 bids today? You know, yeah, I got the 2 bids. First of all, let me tell you, we bought a house with not a square wall and a hole in the floor. You know, the builder should be using these, you know. Well, what about the other guy, he says? Didn't he have a better price? Well, yeah, he's a little bit less, she says, but he didn't even know the floor needed to be worked on. He didn't know the walls were out of square. What's going to happen if we're not home and he sets a tile on the wrong wall? So you can see the professionalism that you show the customer by using this tool. The first guy with the laser is going to get the job, and he's going to get it for more money because she believes he has the wherewithal to make this happen. Her picture in her mind of her beautiful house is going to come to pass with the guy using the laser. Okay? Okay, let's say you're in a related industry. You're cutting carpet for a living, okay? Just to give you an idea on payoff, right now, a warehouse person, he takes the cut from the salesman. Let's say he measures 20 foot in the length of the room, and he sells 20 foot 3 because you're a good guy. You add 3 inches, right? You know what the warehouse man cuts? 20 foot 3, yeah, 20 foot 3. They always add another inch, 3 inches on top, or actually 20 foot 6, I mean. So he adds another 3 inches on there. You don't think that's a lot. You know, he doesn't think he's stealing. What's 3 inches? It's nothing, right? Well, guess what? Typical carpet store cuts 15 cuts a day. 15 cuts a day at $7 a yard. Okay, at 3 inches a cut is $15,500 a year. That is a lot of money. Kind of pays for this. Okay, it pays for it in less than a month. Problem is, we don't want to do the math. Nobody wants to do the math. Use this for cutting carpet, save $15,000 a year. Use it for doing ceramic tile layouts. You could save, well, what did we say earlier? $60 a diagonal layout? Yeah. I had one guy that said, well, I could do diagonals for the same price as 90s. No, that's not what you want to do. We're here to make money. So what we want to do is get the same amount of money, but yet do the job faster. Get in, get out, make it more accurate, faster. Okay?
Back to my specific needs, what about slopes or pitches?
Good question. Man want to know about slopes or pitches. Let's suppose this was a drain right here, and this was my pan, my pan here, okay? I set this in the drain. This is one of the few times that you actually use the levels on the tool. I go to the level line here, see that? And I actually level both vials here. Doesn't take long, okay? Now, I'm shooting a level line on the wall, okay? Water's not going to go anywhere. It's just stagnant. But I want to induce what? We think a ½ inch here, from here down to here? Okay. I want to raise this line a ½ inch so we have a plane to set our mortar to. Now watch. If you look over here, I'm going to raise it 1, 2 quarters. These are 1/4 inch increments on the target. Now I'm a ½ inch higher here than here. I take my mortar, I pack it between the drain and the wall, and I screed right along this line. See, keeping it the same as I go towards this wall, it builds up the ½ inch. I do it this way, that way, and then come over here and do it this way. Isn't that neat? Now, we had another question before. What was that about?
Batteries.
Oh, okay, yeah. You don't put batteries in here. And again, if we're still in the math mode, okay, we'd understand that if you were to put batteries in this thing, you'd probably put in $150 to $200 a year worth of batteries. Doesn't count the time it takes to go to Walgreens to buy them or wherever you buy your batteries. You have to leave the site, go get the batteries, and come back. This should just charge up right here. It comes with a charger, with the unit. Doesn't matter how often you charge it. You know, basically what you put in it, you get out. It goes about 12 hours on a full charge, and you could charge it for an hour and get about an hour's use. There's no memory problem. It's not a real issue, okay? Just charge it up, okay? If it runs out of the site, plug it in for a little while. Mix some more mortar or something, and you're right back at that, okay? All right. What do you do? I had one guy ask me earlier, what do you do if the light is too bright? If I can't see the line far enough? And in essence, that's the single biggest complaint with lasers. I can't see the line. I can't see the dot. It's too bright out. We have a lot of answers for that. Number one, let's suppose, and I'm going to tilt this, let's suppose the line only made it halfway to the wall I wanted to go to, okay? What I would do is take the dot and crank that down to the floor. You see it over there? Now we're going to get a very short but very bright line that could be visible as much as 200 or 300 feet. Now, we snap that from here right back to these 2 hash marks. You see these 2 hash marks there? That's the 1 inch off the front corner. So it intersects right in this center leg here, okay? By the way, this center leg, you can take this off, put it on a tripod, and when you flip this to a level line, now you can get a line that would extend along the wall for a wainscot or a coat base or anything like that, okay? At a specific height, right? It's a durable unit too. Bear in mind, this has a 3-year, no questions asked warranty. If you were to break this, or, yeah, I don't know if it broke, but if you break this or it becomes misaligned, we will fix it or replace it free, okay? Now you say, that was a pretty hard hit. He says, so maybe it's not square now. Well, 90 and 90 have always been 180, so we can simply snap a straight chalk line, we put it on the chalk line, we make a mark as far out as we want to go, we turn it 90 degrees, it should hit this dot right here that we made on the floor. Now, if it doesn't, you send it back, we fix it free, and send it right back to you. If you send it to us overnight, we send it back to you overnight. You know, there's no charge for that.
For 3 years.
For 3 years, yeah. I mean, you know, our first year out, we had a 1-year warranty. The second year, we had a second 2-year warranty, and it's up to 3. I don't know if it's going to stay there or not, but that's what it is today, 3 years, okay? Another interesting fact, remember we talked about the battery thing here? Let's suppose you were working, and you turned your back, and all of a sudden this left. This got stolen. The plumber, he says, yeah, the plumber took it. What he's going to do, he's going to go home and play with this for about 10 or 12 hours, and then it's going to die. Reason is, charge went out. But if you look at this hole here, it doesn't say anything about how to charge it or what amperage or voltage or polarity or anything. So what he does, he calls us up. He wants to buy a charger. And what happens at that time is we say, now, we'll give you a charger. Just tell us where to send it. Name, address, phone number, all that stuff. And then the last thing we ask them for is a serial number. And most of the times the thieves are not very smart. They give it to us anyway. So then we can trace it back to you. We call you and we say, here's this guy, Joe Smith, has your laser. Would you like to give him the charger and help him out, you know? So that's what happens there. We get the unit back. Last year, I think a dozen were stolen and all of them were returned. It's not a bad thing, okay? So, we talked about the squaring and we talked about the 45s, trowel through line, the pitch and the drain, the deflection. Also, it comes with, so you know, it comes with the target we talked about here. Now this has a nice other feature. Let's suppose we had some complex diagonal thing going on here, okay? And we were shooting that way and this way, and we decided this is where we wanted to set this job up at. What I would simply do is mark where my laser's at, right here, like that. I come over here and mark on the V-notch on the target. So when I leave and I come back here tomorrow, I set the laser on this mark and I hit that V-notch, and there I am. Pretty neat, huh? Let's see. We had a, oh, I know one. Guy over there had a question earlier about out of flat versus out of level. Because the laser square is manually adjusted, we can either adjust it level or flat. For example, this is a flat floor. So is this. That's a flat floor too. And we know in flooring, our specs are all out of flat and not out of level. If I had an out of flat floor, I mean out of level floor that was flat, and I used a level laser, and there's a lot of those on the market. Yeah, he has one over there, he said, yeah. And you get this angle here. Well, how are you going to detect an undulation in the floor here? Well, what we want to do is parallel the laser to the floor, then we can pick up the ups and downs, or out of flat. It's important with hardwood guys. He does hardwood there, ceramic, yeah. And carpet, it's not obvious, but, you know, and the other ones we need that. So that's why we have the laser tuned to the height here and over here, okay? So we can adjust that, okay? Again, with the unit comes the target and some extension legs. These are important if you have a thick-based product, if you want like mud-based tile, or his hardwood over there, he's got 3/4 inch hardwood. You want to raise it up a little bit, you just put the 3 extension legs on here and it raises it up about 1 inch. You can also put it on a stack of tile or something like that to get it up. It comes with glasses. These are nice. If you wear these, it enhances the beam in a low light, high light situation. You always have the option of turning down the lights in the room. I mean, most of us don't have enough light, right? You can turn down the lights in the room, or wear these, or go to the dots and transfer in lines, okay? Or raise it up a little bit. All those 3 things will get you a more obvious layout, okay? Now, in terms of layout, it's very simple. If you have a commercial job with long hallways and offices coming off those, I would center this into 2 long hallways, snap those 2, hash mark it with my grid lines. I don't have to snap a lot of grid lines here. Then I would come over here and set the laser on the grid line here, or the snap line, and now it shoots down into the office here. So I have a line into the office. I hash mark it. I can go through the other office, back out the doorway, and come right to where I was before. Same thing applies when we're doing it in 45s. We can chase the 45s through rooms, back in through corridors, and right back into where we started. Okay?
How much?
How much? The unit retails for $885, okay? Sounds like a lot, but remember we talked about before, if you set it down on a diagonal job and save $60, if the man cutting carpet saves $1,000 a month or $1,200 a month, it doesn't take long to pay for it, okay? It's a very durable tool. This is hard-coat anodized aluminum with parallel ground rails. We even put the switches and the knobs inside the plate here so you wouldn't hurt them, you know. It goes on your belt so you don't lose it, and it's protected here, and they won't steal it from you.
Pouch comes with it too?
Pouch comes with it, the target, the extension legs, and the charger to plug it in with, and the glasses. It's a great piece. Any more questions?
Modeling, are there any other applications that could help me with?
Sure. We have a list up here. See builder and remodeler, okay? First of all, your footers and battered boards, just like we showed you on the walls. You can use this outside with the dots and put this in the corner of the foundation to determine where the sill plate needs to go on the foundation. You could actually measure your setback and do the surveying work where you would set this in and shoot the second stake and the first stake, or the third stake, that type of thing. Deck layout would be very similar to wall placement. Cabinets, you might want to use this for a level line to shoot the cabinet at a certain height. Okay. Ceilings, you can use it for it, but you'd be better off with a rotator and laser because it does a better job. It covers the whole room. This you'd have to move a couple times, and it's manual adjust. Okay. Stud walls, same thing, just like placing the little boards on the floor here, like we showed you before. Grades and slopes, same thing as we showed you with the tile. Okay, saw cutting is nice. I mean, a lot of times guys will see when they snap a line, when they saw cut, the dust will appear on top there and it covers up the line. Where here, no matter how much dust I generate with my saw, the line's going to appear on top of that. So we can have one nice continuous fluid motion right across there. It's great for cutting hardwood end boards and things like that. You don't have to stop the saw to blow away the sawdust and get a notchy end where your end board is at. Let's see. We talked about tile layouts quite a bit. And some of, quality inspection. A builder can, for example, check his framer to make sure everything is straight and everything like that. There's a lot of applications here.
How about some of it may be hazardous to my eye?
Good question. He asked if it would be hazardous to his eyes. Now, this product is the maximum legal power available in the United States. This is a full 5 milliwatt laser. We can't sell you a laser hotter than this in the United States. So if any laser can do it, this will do it. But because it's 5 milliwatts and we generate lines, it can be harmful if you stare at this thing, okay? But it would be almost like having a sign on your stove that said, if you hold your hand on the burner long enough, it's going to burn your hand off. Well, anybody would be crazy the minute you touch it. Well, the minute you look at this in your eye, you go, wow, that's bright. I don't want to look at that. So your eye will either close or you'll turn away from it. It takes a long time for you to hurt yourself with this in your eyes.
So more expensive doesn't mean brighter.
No, you can spend $5,000 for a good ceiling rotator and only have 5 milliwatts doing this, So this is a very compact unit. Don't let the size fool you. You can square up this entire building, this convention hall, using this. Okay, 200-300 feet in each direction. Very powerful tool. Now, of course, then we'd be using the dots. Okay, the lines would be reserved for close-up stuff, in the 20-30 foot range where we need to see a two-dimensional line. Okay.
Do you manufacture any other products?
Sure. One I could show you right now. See, one of the things we realized with squaring was that everybody looked at this product and they thought it was kind of confusing. It didn't look like anything we understood. And a lot of them said, it's a lot of money to pay. I don't need all of the fancy stuff, the lines and the level and everything else. So what we did was we took a simple framing square and mounted to it this laser, which actually it's 2 lasers, which shoot 2 dots along the inside edge. And they'll go about 100 feet in either direction, okay? Just dots. I mean, you're not going to get the leveling function, you're not going to get the 45s, and you won't get a line either vertical or horizontal. But it retails for like $99, so it's a good buy, same warranty, and all you do is put 2 throwaway batteries in here, and it should last about 30 hours on one set of batteries.
So I could just bump that up against the back of my house and square up my deck, my posts?
Right, here's the back of your house, you put it up against the edge like this, and then it gives you this dot that runs out into the room, or runs out into the yard, and you know right where to put that stake. Yeah, see, this would be 2 inches down this side here, and this would be 1.5 inches because that's the size of the ruler. I mean the square. It's a rafter square. It has all the combinations on there for rafters and dimensions. And this one you can actually calibrate yourself. Again, 90 and 90 is 180. So you can calibrate this yourself. You don't have to send it back. It's kind of nice. But these take a big beating too, you know. So if you did drop it and you did knock it out, you could check it yourself and adjust it yourself. In fact, all you do is, same thing, when you see the dot on the wall and you turn it this way, the next dot on the wall, if it's off, okay, that's twice the error. So you just make a line in the middle and you adjust one of these little screws here until the line comes over right in the middle. Make sense?
Where can I find these products?
Okay, our distributors in the United States are primarily professional tool and tiles. Because it was originally a tile tool, you're going to find this in a lot of the specialty houses who sell tile and tools. Okay, but if you were just to call us up at any time, we'll give you a toll-free number too, but if you call us up at any time, give us your zip code, we should be able to tell you the closest dealer to you anywhere around the country. Okay? And again, in closing, I'd like to say that there's a lot of things you can do to improve your productivity, your accuracy, everything you do on the job site. But this is one thing that is new enough and it's innovative enough that you should be able to really improve your performance and your productivity and accuracy all at the same time. And it really pays for itself.
And if I'm in the middle of a job and say I'm having a problem with an application or I'm not certain how to
yeah, we talked about a lot.
reach.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of things here today, and a lot of things that we did talk about aren't necessarily covered in the instruction manual. So all you do is call us up. Our 800 number is 877-679-1300. And just call us up, you know, business hours during the week, and we'll walk you through the job you're on. We'll tell you how to set it up, you know, give you some hints on what to do with it. If you forget what you're supposed to do with it. Because there's so many, like you said earlier, there's so many things that it does. How am I going to remember all this? Call us. We'll walk you through it. Okay? And I think what you'll see is that once you get used to this, it's not going to happen overnight. But there's been many articles written about this tool and how simple it is. In fact, one of the Tile Education Foundation people said that, you know, if a tile setter were to pick this up and set it down and not understand it, he probably would need to go back to basic training, you know, because it's that simple. It is. 90 degrees, 45 degrees, level, dots, everything you need, all in one tool.
Great product.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, and we'll be in touch, okay?
Okay.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Dan.
Dan.
Be good. Thank you. Yeah, and you too.